evening and welcome to Meticulous Moments. My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start the Meticulous Moments movement out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a better society. Good day and welcome to Meticulous Moments, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Grandmaster Jessie Bowen. A little bit more about Jessie. Jessie Bowen is a 10th degree black belt, author, life coach, minister, speaker, and corporate educator, Duke CE. The Zen Mind Body Mindfulness Level Number 1 program was created by Jessie Bowen, 10th degree black belt, author, certified life success coach, sports hypnosis coach, NLP master coach, and silver life system coach. For over 30 years, Jessie's training programs have been used by top executive teams, collegiate teams, and businesses. Grandmaster Bowen was on the Duke University staff for over 27 years, teaching martial arts, fitness, kickboxing, MMA, bowling, and coach for Duke's Taekwondo team. The Zen Mind Body Mindfulness Meditation course was developed for Duke University as a physical education course, having hundreds of students achieve better lives. Although it may appear overwhelmingly straightforward at first glance, mindfulness meditation can be challenging to grasp. The Zen Mind Body program was specifically developed to address this problem through teaching listeners mindfulness skills in a gradual, stepwise fashion. This program delivers content in an easy-to-understand manner and provides a training environment to facilitate mindfulness's practical application to everyday life situations. My goodness, I realize, and you realize, my goodness, we realize that we are in exceptional leadership hands in this very session. I had such a wonderful time with Grandmaster Jessie Bowen. He is such a wonderful believer. He's an amazing martial artist. He's a family man. He's a wonderful friend. And just to see that authenticity and that integrity shining through was so refreshing. He's a breath of fresh air. I know he also spearheads elite publications, so keep a lookout for the social media handles that I will make available after this session. Follow Jessie, network with him, and cheer him on this wonderful godly leadership journey. And with that, we introduce our amazing special guest, Grandmaster Jessie Bowen. Good evening, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another enlivening session here on the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Jessie Bowen. How are you, Grandmaster Jessie Bowen?
I am better, and better, ma'am, trying to make the world a better place. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to, be on your podcast today. This is so awesome. So, hey, I am ready.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for making time for us. And I just love it when we talk community upliftment. And it makes my heart so glad to see that there are people out there that would really like to, excel and exceed and help people to further their lives. So thank you so much for that. I know you. We've been in the same rooms together. I've had the privilege of sharing Zoom rooms with you. We've had a Zoom call. We've had Messenger. We've talked about the interview. But for the audience members that are not acquainted with you yet, would you just please introduce yourself?
Okay. Well, I am Jessie Bowen. I am a martial artist. I'm a 10th degree black belt in Aiki Kenshai Karate. I study not only karate, but my study has been Taekwondo, mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Aikido. So, during that time, it's been a study, a constant evolvement about me as a person in the martial arts. I ran my martial arts school for 38 years. I sold it back in 2018. I was on Duke University's physical education staff for 28 years. I started their martial arts program. We had 6 classes. We had martial arts classes, mindfulness classes. I was the bowling instructor for the university. I did personal mental performance training. I'm a certified life coach, business coach, sports hypnosis coach. So,
Wow.
I've really done a lot of great things, in my life. I'm an author, and I've started my own publishing company. We created so much success through our books. After I retired, I decided that, there's one of those songs, you can't keep it to yourself. So I decided to share it. All the information I have, I'm sharing it. I plan on being around for a long time, but sharing that information that somebody can use it. So we created the Who's Who book series, and we did the Martial Arts Masters and Pioneers. We're now doing Martial Artists Changing Lives. We have a great team of people, but through those books, we have impacted many martial artists in their lives, of sharing their stories, which would have been forgotten. And many people, such as Grandmaster Joan Marie, have left us and gone, but the books that we've written, the things we've done, have provided a legacy that they still live on through our books. I have a new book coming out and some different things I'm doing, but there's a lot of other things, but I'm not going to bore everybody with that. But I'm just going to say that as I look at where I am in my life at this point, then I look at where I started. If it had not been for the martial arts and having a great teacher, then I have no idea where I would be in life. And I contribute that the martial arts and having a good teacher was critical means for me to have all the opportunities and door opportunities open for me, in my own life.
Phenomenal. Absolutely. It warms my heart to see that that principle, as we rise, we lift, comes into play. I love the fact that you take the knowledge that you've accumulated over the years in the martial arts space, in the corporate space, being an author, your life experiences, and you really combine that to bring a holistic program to everyone you meet, to really minister to them on all levels. And I actually want to ask you to elaborate on your new book release. I mean, that is so exciting. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. Well, this is book number 33. I'm going to have to definitely go to number 34 so I can move on to 33. But, I talk with a lot of individuals that want to write a book. They've been writing a book for 10 years. You see, it doesn't take you long to write a book. I wrote this book in 30 days and, just launching this weekend. The whole concept about my writing is, where am I now? What's going on in my own life? And if I have to solve problems, I'm a note taker. So if I have to solve problems, then I always write notes on it, so that the problems that I solve, these notes turn into my book. And, this book, it means a lot to me, because it's really about me and things I was going through. And the book is titled God Forgives, Why Not You? And the whole concept is I was going through some things, my whole family from little boy up, they're strong people and there's no room for error. And if it's either you're on the right side or you're on the wrong side, there's nothing in between. If you happen to be on the wrong side, then they would not forgive you forever. And God just stopped me. And, a few weeks ago, I had an incident with some family members that I love dearly. And they had crossed the path of being on my wrong side. And they were going to be excommunicated for life. So there's there's no forget. That's sort of like but you see how bad that actually is. Yeah, and what God did was like, this morning I was thinking about our interview, and it sort of came to my mind. It was sort of like, I'm a spiritual person. That doesn't mean religious. It means that I'm a spiritual person and I have a relationship. And I know that where I'm on this call because of that relationship. And it was like having an out of body experience, and where that it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm getting ready to stand up, and I get set back down. And it was like I went on this journey, and God began to reveal to me, show me my family. How many relationships were destroyed? How many the disconnect from the family? He showed me that my own behavior, how many people that I had revenge on, or something that wasn't right. It showed me my children, how my conflict with my own children. Then he began to show me my grandchildren and how my impact of carrying this generational, Bowen brand of don't mess with me, don't mess with me. That is wrong. This Bowen brand, he began to show me that the devastation it was covering, and began to show me my grandkids. I have 5 grandkids that I love dearly, but showing me that my attitude towards their parents, that my dad, showing me all these things and the impact it was having. And then he showed me that I was the cornerstone to my family. Then it was my responsibility to go in and stop this generational chain and to stop that. So that's what I did. And over the past 8 weeks, I've actually made a list of everyone that over the past 10 years I've had conflict with. I've actually called them up, and I've actually apologized.
My goodness, that's amazing.
I did my initial service as a minister about 4 weeks ago, and I couldn't make that leap or make that change in knowing there was something imperfect about me as that person. So, that's what the book became about. I have a copy of it. It's really released this weekend, a copy of it. And because, God forgives, why not you? And that's what happened, because what happens in the martial arts, as you rise and become a master, you should become more spiritual.
Yes.
You should have, and spiritual means that you have a connection with a higher power.
Absolutely.
Because you're learning to master yourself. It is not necessarily mastering how hard I can punch, or how high I can kick. It's the ability to master me as the person. So my martial arts is not about is never been about the 2,000 trophies I've won. It's never been about the world titles I've won. It's never been about that. It's about me and growing larger by continuing to educate myself.
Yes.
To study the martial arts, not do martial arts, but to study the martial arts, and then and that's what the growth is. So I tell everyone. And because you develop a spiritual relationship, just that idea of the book that my goal is for it to be an international bestseller, because every family has that stuff in their trunk of someone that they can't forgive. And this is here creates a physical relationship or physical damage within you, because every time you think of that person you don't like, you have to emotionally and physically and mentally I call it regurgitate that experience over and over again, and you get that same feeling. So the impact that being an unforgiving person, the impact it has on you physically, mentally, and emotionally, and then that carries on. So that was the reason for the book. And everyone has that problem. So I have studied it. The book contains scripture that supports the text, but it is a whole plan. If you want to, or you recognize that what you have been doing has been causing conflict, you can change. I ask you to forgive me. That is your choice to forgive me. It is my choice now that I don't have to live with that, because I am now in that comfort situation. I love you every time I see you. So I don't have to deal with that. So it's dealing with the individual, and then because those doors will open.
Wonderfully articulated. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I can say from my side, I've only been in this space for 6 years now with the martial arts, but the more I study it, the more I learn about myself, the more I identify areas that need work, the more I do introspection. And it's a journey, and it's lovely, because I think people miss out if they don't know that you have to continually work on yourself. There's so many layers to a person. There's so many things that we go through, and we kind of press it deep down. And I feel when we engage in martial arts, when we study it, when we do all of the different styles and all of the different aspects of it, physically, spiritually, emotionally, it touches you and it really develops us. So it's a journey that I don't ever want it to end. I'm so grateful and thankful that I have the opportunity to do it. And what I love about what you said is that body, soul, spirit, you kind of touched on, that is where we develop. And that is still a journey that you are on. It's still a journey that I'm on, and will forever stay on that journey. So I'm so thankful to be in your presence this evening with a like-minded individual who just wants to do the best there is to do in the world. And we just want to be the best version of ourselves. And it's true. It's not about the trophies. It's not about our accomplishments. It's about what are we doing with this art, and how are we using it for the good in the world. So thank you very much for that. I know you mentioned that you have been in the martial arts space for 38 years. What has your journey been like? How did it start? How did you decide to go into martial arts?
Okay, well, I've been in the martial arts about 50 years. My school as a school owner was for 38 years. And wow. I look at it, my life, as that I've had these elements of my weakness that I was directed to places of finding my strength. Yeah. And I got involved in the martial arts, back in the early 70s. And, all through school, I grew up as an only child, and I couldn't defend myself. I didn't have any big brothers to make me tough, and yeah. I couldn't defend myself, and I could have, but I didn't have the courage.
Yes.
I didn't have the courage to be able to defend myself. I never played sports. I was like that kid that wouldn't be the water boy. You got 4 left feet. I never did any of those. I never did any of those things, and I left my small town, and by the time I graduated from high school, I'd never been more than 60 miles from my home. So that just shows you that how small my world was. And I left, and I came to moved to the big city of Raleigh, North Carolina. And on my job that I was getting ready to get fired from, I worked at Rockwell International as a general machinist, and I'd had my last notice before they were going to fire me for rework. I couldn't concentrate and do the work that they wanted to have done. And this guy was going to beat me up on my job. So I got on work one morning and I started looking at every martial arts school. Wow. It didn't matter whoever answered the phone. I was going to join their class. At the age of 21, I did not want to be beaten up anymore. So I'm a man now, you know. So only one school answered the telephone, Pride International, Raleigh, North Carolina. I met my teacher, Sensei Jan Wellendorf, and he was the first person that says, "You're going to be somebody. I believe in you." I never heard that before. And every day I would come in, he would say that to me. He said it to me enough that I started believing. He started taking time with me, teaching me other things. I started teaching martial arts when I was a green belt full time. I became his assistant instructor. And, you know, then I developed my own programs and I went out competing, developing the reputation and name of the school. You know, I made black belt and I never wanted to really own a martial arts school. But, you know, on the job that I was about to get fired from, once I got involved in the martial arts, my focus increased, my concentration increased, my confidence increased. And so I was at the top position of becoming a supervisor on my job, one of the highest paid people on my job. And I contributed all that back to the martial arts because I was a lathe operator and the company built these large valves for nuclear power companies. So you had a really tight tolerance you had to design all these parts for. But it was my martial arts that increased my concentration, my focus, and from being fired to the next highest position, then being in management. I didn't really want to be in management. And, you know, I think I was making $7 an hour, and our martial arts school made $10,000 in 1 month. I'm going, let me do the math on this. I'm making $7 an hour. I'm working 40 days a week. They worked for 1 month and they had a gross of $10,000. I need to change professions. So my teacher gave me a franchise in the organization, and that was it. You know, I started that, and within 60 days of opening my school, I was able to put my toolbox in the back of my Corvette and drive off the lot and never to return again. So, you know, that was sort of my story of really just getting started. From then on, everything is history of, you know, opening up 3 martial arts schools. Duke University asked me to start their martial arts program. You know, so it's just been a journey that every day there's something different and something new that happens. So my drive, my zeal to still teach, to train, to make the world a better place, that is my zeal.
Love it, absolutely love it. And I can really relate to the focus. And I've read and I've experienced, like you firsthand, that it really increases, martial art increases your focus, your mental abilities. It works on your left and your right hand brain. You work whatever you do on the left, you do on the right. It is just phenomenal, and it changes. And to hear your story, where it began, just that confidence that someone had in you here out of the blue, putting that seed in your life, and look what it has become nearly 50 years later. I mean, that is just a story. It's showing the power there is in believing in yourself and really going out and getting what you want, making that change. So I'm very happy to hear that martial arts was the vehicle for that. And you've inspired so many people. 33 books, my goodness, that's a lot of books. And here you are today still impacting in various ways. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I wanted to ask the ranks. How do the ranks work to get to Grand Master? Because my knowledge on this is that once you get to black belt, you go to first dan, second dan, and so it continues. And as far as I know, when you are a black belt, when you go to first dan, there is a year gap between. And when you go to your second dan, you wait 2 years. Is that the same system, or does it work different in the States?
Well, no, it works very similar based upon the curriculum. I know for our organization, the curriculum is that you have time limits, but it's also based upon what you do.
Oh.
So if I go to class 2 days a week, then that time level is for that. But if I'm in the classes every day and I'm doing things and I'm, the person that comes to class once or twice a week, that person may teach once a week and then, they're taking classes. But a person that comes in and teaches every day and that's developing students and is developing, then those things change because you're valued on what you do, not how long you've been doing it. So, my advancement, I'm probably the youngest 10th degree black belt under my teacher. And that's in age and in rank. And most people think of 10th degree black belt, you die, you throw the belt in the coffin as they're burying you. And you don't get that opportunity for growth because at each belt level, you should have personal growth.
Yes, amen.
So think of white belt, gold belt, blue belt, green belt, purple, brown. And in the black belt, you have these growth things that you do physically, mentally. Well, when you're reaching higher ranks, you should have the same thing. Now, the difference is that I sort of disagree in is that when you have a lot of people that get together and promote someone based upon you're my friend, you've been doing it this long, you deserve it. I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with it is because I don't know anything about you. I know that you've been doing it for a long time. I don't see your technique. Every rank that I've ever received was I demonstrated at that rank. So I did something. My teacher knew that background. The board was called in. My peers, viewed me for my technique. And then at 6th degree black belt, you had to write a thesis, about the martial arts. So my early writing, my best writing started at that time. So I had to turn in this paperwork, and it was about martial arts and the inner growth. So I've always been the study of the inner growth. And, one of the books I wrote was Change Your Mind, Change Your Life Success Guide. And that book was about, it's okay, you think this way now, but as you go to this next level, then you can change your mind about it and get a whole different result. At 10th degree black belt, it's like a chase, the 10th degree black belt. Everybody wants to get there. What happens is the day after I was promoted, I wake up and go, yes, 10th degree black belt. And my brain goes, and now what? So
new
now,
level.
you reach this mountain, you look around and this room is empty. You look around and it's empty. You've made it to the top and you go, okay, was something magical supposed to happen here at the top? So that room is empty. So I actually at that point I wrote another book, and I began to write, and that book was all about making a decision or reaching a point in life and then having to make an adjustment. So at 10th degree black belt, I had to make an adjustment. It wasn't the same. Yes. I'm not the same person at 10th degree black belt that I was at 9th degree black belt. My physical expectations are different.
Yes.
My mental expectations are different. Everything that I do is different because I do it from a 10th degree black belt perspective.
That is amazing.
That's what I say, so that's the way that you do is, as you're going to be on your journey to be a black belt or 10th degree black belt, you should be perfecting yourself.
Beautiful.
You every level you get better. I am much better now than I was when I was first promoted to 10th degree black belt.
Yes.
My teacher is a 10th degree black belt. So my assignment has been to start my own route or my own organization as a branch from his tree. So he's 10th degree black belt. I'm 10th degree black belt. He has several other people that are 10th degree black belt. So, his assignment was for me to start my own organization. When O-Sensei means founder. Now, I won't take that title or founder as long as my teacher lives. So I don't want to have that title, in there. I am the founder of my own organization, my method of teaching. But like I said, I'm a branch from my teacher's tree. I'm not a tree that's growing out there by myself. So I am a branch. So O-Sensei is a title that is bestowed upon me, but I will not, as long as he lives, I will not look at myself as O-Sensei, because I still look at him as the foundation of me.
Beautifully said, and so true. Absolutely so true. I decided when I started with martial arts that I'm going to go on for the rest of my life. And I'm glad that you mentioned, that it's there to perfect us, because will never achieve that state of perfection, but we should always be on that journey to learn and to grow personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally, in our art. And it's so beautiful. Martial arts is beautiful, not just to look at, but that expression, that feeling, that impartation that you get, and that peace. It's inexplainable and amazing at the same time. Now, core values are very important. I mean, we talk discipline, we talk humility, integrity, all of the above. And I wanted to ask you, core values. What is the core value that you would identify, if there's one, if there's more, that you that became a part of your life during the course of your martial arts journey and your lifestyle?
Truth.
Wow.
Truth.
Beautiful.
Truth. Truth. And most people that know me for truth. That they probably know me that bad side of don't cross, because, there will be an outcome from it. But truth and integrity, I don't mind telling people really quickly. And someone says, you're arrogant. No, I don't mean that is never what I want to come across. But truth, only God can question my integrity. I wake up every day. Only God can question my integrity. No other man can question that, because if you don't want the truth from me, you probably shouldn't ask me to question.
Yeah, because sometimes people expect us to say certain things, a conditioned response, a generic response. I also don't work like that. Sometimes in the ministry, I haven't been very popular, because when I get on the pulpit, I say it like it is. And if the shoe fits, it fits, then you need to go and work on it. So I was thinking of something, as you said, truth. I saw a picture in my mind, because God works with me in pictures. I was standing in the dojo, and the sensei was there, and the little class, the younger kids had finished their class. And a little boy in his gi, he did kata, but he did it with his mouse guard, and he's so cute, he's standing there tugging on the sensei's gi, and he's talking, but you can't really hear what he's saying. So the sensei says, take it out, and then he says, Sensei, because our sensei is a teacher, and in the afternoon and evenings he runs the dojo, and he tugged on his gi, and after he took out his mouse guard, he said, Sensei, which coach at school is the best coach? And the sensei looked at him and he thought a little bit, and the boy tugged again on his skin. I'm standing there, I'm witnessing this. I taking off my shoes and putting them, neatly together and taking a sip of water before the class. And the sensei looks at him and he says, the best coach is the honest coach. And I thought, my goodness. And it stuck with me to this day. The best coach is the honest, the truthful one. Because if we do martial arts and when we do this, it doesn't help if we say, oh no, give them a pat on the back. No, you did. If they have to work on something, they have to work on something. And then that humility must be there to say, yes, maybe that person is not where they want to be yet, but they'll get there. So when you said truth, I saw it happen in front of me again. I think that's a phenomenal core value. And that goes out to the outer reaches of our life as well, into every area. Yes.
Well, and that's what I try to, I touch a lot of different areas as a corporate educator. And I'm going to, in December the 1st, I'll be the closing speaker for Nike, in Oregon, but this is the third trip that I've spoken for Nike and to Nike, but that's what you don't have to, what I bring, because I find a way to deliver it because I've studied speaking. I've studied coaching. That's what you have to do. You become, you discover those things that make you better.
Yes. And you study that art, not only the art of martial arts, the art of speaking.
That's exactly right.
Writing, the art of living a godly life. Everything is study. It's an art and it's beautiful and everything comes together. I've taken so many martial arts principles and I've applied them in my business. I've taken so many martial arts principles and I've applied them in my ministry. And I've taken ministry principles and I've put them into these other categories as well. So I love that flow, that constant flow of being one with oneself, with God, with nature. Beautiful, absolutely phenomenal. And the work, congratulations. I mean, to be a speaker for Nike, that is something commendable. That's amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. And, and that was I've been a corporate educator for Duke University, their business school now for about 12 years. And they called me in and they asked me, would I come in and do a board breaking seminar for some executives. and I went over and I did this training program, but I was a professional speaker. I'd already written 10 books. And so they called me up about a couple of days later and said, well, how would you like to be a corporate educator for us? I'm going, okay. He said, well, do you have a passport? I was going, yeah. He said, well, we need you in Switzerland in 2 weeks. I'm going, where? Wow. Switzerland. I'm going like, okay. And so my first really large travel and speaking opportunity was to Swiss Re. And Swiss Re is the bank that insures all the other banks in the world. So my blessing was I didn't have to start at the bottom. My blessings always keep me at the top. So that's the reason why I said that, that when you're having that, you have to recognize there's a spiritual purpose in your life. And, and I always tell people that Martin Luther King had a purpose. The Wright brothers had a purpose in their airplane. Steve Jobs had a purpose. We all have a purpose. Yeah. But the thing is that we all, everyone, when you realize that you have a purpose, then you can be still and your purpose can find you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I found that to be true. I was in the ministerial, I'm still in the ministry, but I've been in the ministerial arena for 15 years. And it was only in my 13th year in the COVID that I really found my purpose. I thought I had been living my purpose. And it wasn't until everything that I was keeping myself so busy with shut down, and I had those 3 weeks of nothingness because everything closed, and I had to sit there and, have time with myself and do introspection, that I realized maybe what I've been doing is not really my life purpose. I'm blessed with it. I'm anointed with it. But God has a bigger purpose than that for me. And He's really been taking me from the ministerial space, taking that experience that He's given me and putting me in the marketplace where Jesus was busy, always working with people. And I see in the martial arts as well, it really just flows and it teaches and it enforces and it instructs. So it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. And I hear the way that, you conduct life. And I think that is just amazing. And, focus is a big thing, Jessie. Focus is a big thing, to keep your focus aligned. And I wanted to ask you, with regards to your focus and with martial artists in general, how do martial artists in general keep their focus? Whether it's for training, whether it's for competitions, whether it's in life circumstances, how would you instruct them or advise them to keep their focus? Because there's so many external impulses coming at us all the time that sometimes it's difficult for us to stay the course.
Pen and paper.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, to understand to keeping your focus is to be able to keep your attention on what you're doing and where you're going. So it doesn't matter whatever you want to put your focus into. Now, there are some ingredients in focus you have to have, and that is faith. Now, faith is, I'm going to use this term because so that everybody can understand it, not give you some far out, thing about faith. Is he getting ready to go religious on me here? But faith is, I don't care how you put it, faith is belief, desire, and expectation. That is faith. That's faith. I mean, that is faith. I don't care how you got to have a belief in something. You have to have a desire to achieve it. And then you have to expect that it's happened. That's why, I do vision board trainings and teaching people how to create vision boards. Because in vision boards, in fact, across from my computer, I have my vision board for everything that I want to accomplish this year. It's in front of me every day. And how much money I need to make a day, how to meet my financial goals. What are the projects I have out there? In fact, I have pictures of all my books pinned up on my vision board in front of me, so I know exactly which book I am working on. So that's it. I mean, that's it. You have to set goals for yourself. And you want to have focus. And what's your goals? If a person has no goals, then they can have no focus. Then if you know you want to do something, but you don't take actions on it, then there's no returns on it. Or if you want it, you take action on it, but in the end, you don't believe you can achieve it, you still have the same outcome. So you have to be able to bring those things to the table in order to stay focused. We do board breaking, block breaking. Wonderful. If I had to think about breaking a board or punching a block with my hand, someone else said, "Man, you cuckoo. Why would you do that?" But you see, breaking is not about breaking the blocks. It is about the depth of your focus. So, and martial artists are not dangerous. Now, so I'm also an expert witness. So in my community, I've been in several trials as an expert witness where martial arts has been in question or military force for me to testify about that person. Because you see, when you're a martial artist, you become stronger. So when I come down here and I punch a block or something, I break it, what if I punch that person? If I have the ability to punch that person like I did that block, then they may have a rib that gets broken. Or
Yes.
the power that I can break 10 blocks. And now with that focus energy, because I never punched the block, I punched the floor. The floor is in the way.
Yes.
Right. So see, martial artists, right, they're not dangerous until they understand that principle. So if I hit you, I don't hit you. I hit the wall behind you. You just were standing in the way.
Yes.
So now that energy, that focus, now it becomes dangerous. So that same focus energy is that you look at a problem, you don't look at the problem, you look at the solution. And you continue to work towards the solution. So that's the same thing of what I break 1 block, 10 blocks. You know, my 5th degree black belt, I broke 15 2-inch blocks with a stomp kick. With a stomp kick. But I started breaking 1 block at a time.
Wow.
I started breaking 1 block at a time. When I could break 1 block consistently, it went to 2 blocks. When I could break 2 blocks, then it went 3 blocks. I broke hundreds of blocks getting ready for my 5th degree black belt test because I had to perform a fantastic feat as a 5th degree black belt, something that not the average person could come up and do.
Wow. Absolutely. And that dedication it takes, and understanding that skill and what the power of the skill is. I had a lovely interview on Mark Cox's podcast, Real Talk with Mark Cox, and we had a discussion about some people, they don't want to go to the dojo because they think it's dangerous and they'll get hurt. And I said to him, as martial artists, and we do full contact at our dojo, most of the year is full contact. So, and that's something that I love. I absolutely love it. And we walk away from a fight. If someone wants to fight or start an argument, we walk away. The first thing I would do is I wouldn't even say anything. I would just walk away. But on the other hand of that, if someone would push me in a corner and try and hurt me or catch me in the street and try and attack my children, of course, then you will use that skill to protect your own. But martial arts, when I went to do that in 2016, I was angry. There were reasons that I wanted to go and learn self-defense. And I had this anger when I started. And through the years that I've been doing it, I have found my peace. It's a paradox because in that fighting came the peace. In learning how to fight in the dojo and to defend, the peace came. And it's just a wonderful feeling. So, 15 blocks, my goodness, I've never broken a board before. I don't even know. That's hectic. That's a lot of boards.
Well, but that's what we're really talking about. And you're correct. The ability to walk away from a situation because I can see the outcome before it gets started.
Yes.
So I already know the outcome of this before. I don't have to do it because you've seen those movies that I think Sherlock Holmes movie where in the part in the movie this guy's getting ready to make a move. These guys get ready to attack him in his mind.
Yes.
He runs through it and that's how it should be. You should see the outcome of it before it gets started. It should have already happened in your mind before it gets started, or that response is really that's there for any situations. So you don't have to fight. I don't have to prove it because I've already been at that place that I know the outcome of it before it gets started. It's like every other goal. And okay, well, Jessie, what if this changes it changes? Okay, then you learn to adapt. Oh, now you have 2 people. You learn to adapt. That's the reason why, studying Aikido, redirecting someone's energy. I don't have to give, karate. If I apply karate on you, you would never forgive me.
Yeah.
You would probably hate me till the day you expire. You would remember that. But if I applied Aikido principles on you, I could control you, and you did have an option.
Yes. Wonderful way of putting it. And you were using the example of Sherlock Holmes, and I thought, I've thought of that saying that, to read between the lines. And I thought to myself, martial arts help you to read a situation. You read what's not being said. You hear in your mind's eye, and then you act accordingly. So thank you so much for that. I love that. I wanted to ask you, what is the most important preparation that a martial artist can conduct, engage in before competing? What is the top go-tos that you would use, for instance?
Well, the first of all is it really is to understand if you're a forms competitor, then you want to know your form.
Yes.
Then you want to live your form. And living your form is understanding the bunkai and the applications in the kata. What these moves are. And you understand what the judges are looking for in a good forward stance. You know, what the judges are looking for in a good punch. What the judges are looking for in a good focus kick. What the judges are looking for. Do they believe you're in a competitive mode? And when I was competing, it was really about walking on the floor and triggering myself to be in Okinawa. So I would leave that gym and I would travel mentally, and that's that mental part. I would be in Okinawa, and what I would visualize as I did my kata. My daughter was very young; she's 2 or 3. And I would visualize that I've got her on my back. I just got out of this canoe, and out of the jungle runs the samurai. And they've got all their swords drawn. And what is my goal? Protect my baby. So I did bow staff in competition. So I did my bow staff like it was reality. I'd lose myself in the kata. I would break bow staffs, just by swinging them, because I've extended that key level so high. But to live that emotional part of having to defend myself, it was never about me. It was about defending my daughter, what I will not allow to happen. So every competition, she was there. And that was my mental focus. And most times, judges, man, you're a scary dude, man. You're a scary dude. But you see, that's what I'm saying. You do kata.
It's supposed to be.
What do you feel? What is your emotional side to your kata? Do you believe it? Is that person in front of you? So you don't have to fight because you understand the principle of it. The mental rehearsal, so the mental rehearsal of sitting down, meditating, and seeing you're going through your kata, expressing yourself in your meditation, opening your eyes and then go do it, to see yourself winning before you actually get there. So that's the secret. Visualize it, be a part of it, expect it, train hard.
I just see you going onto this floor, and as you were articulating that, I saw it. And you mentioned that even when you used, with your key level, when you used the bow, you would break it. I mean, that must have been extraordinary. You really lived yourself, you lived in that moment. I remember when I started a few years ago that when we have something called showtime. So you learn your kata, and then you have to come and now do it in front of the class. And my goodness, Jessie, the first time I had to do showtime, I was so shy. I mean, everything was just going like this. My legs felt like they were going to give way, and then through the years, you kind of build up that confidence, and you get to learn about your body and who you are and what works for you. And when you know the bunkai, it's very easy then to live into that moment, because then if you go here, you're breaking someone's neck, and you visualize that. So when you start off, you don't know the bunkai.
So visualize and emotionalize.
Yes.
That
so
you
tell
can.
us what's the difference between those. That's lovely.
So visualize that I see it happening. Emotionalize is I'm okay with it.
Yes. Beautiful.
That I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. That's the reason why you don't have to fight, because I understand the maximum. I have to, as a martial artist, I have to be responsible for my actions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And so I have to emotionalize that situation that I may have to defend myself on whatever level that needs to be. That's the reason I can withdraw.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful.
And that's
because some of those moves are deadly. Yes.
Right. And that's the reason why. That's the reason why you carry yourself, because we're animals. You can sense me, the way I feel, what I feel. So we understand that. And when you understand that I can emotionalize what needs to be done, you have an opportunity to withdraw also.
Yes. Wonderful. Absolutely love that. And, our personalities, I'm a calm and collected person. When I'm a pastor, people are drawn to my energy because I love to bring upliftment and joy. When I go to the dojo, I'm not a pastor. I go there to fight and to learn. And let me tell you, if someone's going to punch me in the face, I'm going to give it back. Because now I'm not ministering. I'm there to defend myself. So I love that part of martial arts. It brings that animalistic out,
That's why it does. And my first year as a competitor that I competed, I never won. My first year, I never won. I bet you I went to at least 8 to 9 tournaments. I never won anything. It wasn't until I failed my purple belt test and I'm teaching for my teacher at green belt, and I'm still this loser. And I was getting ready to quit the martial arts. And I went out, I failed my test. We had a tournament that day. I took my stuff off, threw it in the trunk of my 1978 Monte Carlo T-top black. Now I'm going to drive off into the sunset, and I'm never coming back to the martial arts because, you guys didn't like me. You didn't promote me. And 2 of the students that I was teaching, they came out, and the young lady, her name is Emma Mitchell, and it's just like she said it yesterday. It's always clear in my mind. And she looked at me and said, "So if we lose, we should quit." I stopped, and I turned and looked at her, and I said, "No." I opened my trunk up, got my stuff out. I went back in and won my first place trophy.
That's phenomenal. Coming back from
and I haven't lost since.
My goodness. And that's what she said. What was said that day changed that mental focus and gave you that. That's amazing.
A leader was born that day. A leader was born that day because of what she said to me. Because I'm teaching her class. I'm a green belt and all these brown belts, but I had as much information. But when she said to me, well, so if we lose, should we quit? And that was, what am I to do? And I looked at her and I said, no. And that moment, something broke inside of me, that losing side of confidence to that other side that I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show you. I went back in, I won my first place trophy. I never won anything in my life. I'm about 23 years old. I remember sleeping with my trophy. But what life has taught me is that knock me down and you'll grow something in me. When you laugh, the worst thing you do is laugh at me because I failed or I wasn't. When you laugh at me, that just supercharges me. Emma Mitchell, she steps back up every time, and it turns out something beautiful.
It is that when we break that something, I can relate completely with you that something is born, because the first time I was subjected to, or in the cage, because we fight in a cage, because we do a lot of different part of the styles, we do jiu-jitsu and grappling, and we also do MMA. So in the beginning, because I'm always loving and caring and the shepherd, and when I went to karate, it was difficult for me to get into fight mode because I didn't go there to hurt anyone. And I had to get to a place where I learned that it's different there. But what I want to say is, the first time I got angry that I really started fighting and fight back was when someone hurt me. And that moment that someone hurt me, I was angry. I felt that anger, and then that spirit was released, that now I know. It's like a button. If I go into the dojo, it's on and we go. And I love Mark Cox said something the other day, because he was talking to someone and they asked him, how can I be a pastor and a martial artist? How does that make sense? It's two totally different things, but it's really not, in my opinion. So he said something, he said, sometimes you're a pastor, sometimes you're a master, sometimes you need a hug, and sometimes you need a headlock. Mm-hmm. So I laughed at that, because it's life. Martial arts runs through all of life. So that's wonderful to hear how you won your first trophy, how that changed in your life, and you haven't lost since.
Right.
And you're still breaking boards, Jessie.
Well, I haven't had to do any breaks in a while now. In fact, I've got some boards that I had to ship out to California that we're going to probably be breaking. I have some extra. I have a couple of private students that I teach, and they're actually my staff members that live in town. They come to my home and train them. I had 300 students in my martial arts school when I sold it, and the plans were to ride off into the sunset and fish on the banks and that kind of stuff. And another door opened in the publishing business, and hey, I'm glad I'm me.
Yes.
I'm so glad that I am me.
God is good. God is very, very good. Now, leadership. Everything that you do, I see leadership shining through, strong leadership. You have the publishing, you're an author, you are busy with the martial arts, you are busy in society facilitating community upliftment in different ways. And I want to ask you, you've been around the block, you've seen a lot of things. What was the best display that you've ever seen of leadership? Something that will stay with you. What is the first thing that you think about when you think about good leadership skills?
I would have to go back to my teacher. He was not just a great leader, but he was also a great mentor. He was an idealist. He created degree programs for martial artists to get their martial arts degree in business management.
My goodness.
So you had to have, before they would sell you a franchise, this is going back in the in the late 60s, early 70s. Before they would sell you a franchise, you actually had to receive a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree in business management under them before they would sell you a franchise. So the whole process about this change for getting ready for this new wave of martial arts, selling on contracts and opening multiple schools and teaching 300-400 students, was born because of he was a guy before his time. He actually created home study courses that he had teams of people going door to door selling karate lessons. And if you did not buy the karate lesson, then they would actually sell you an LP. Let's see, can I reach this?
Oh, LP. I know those. Wow. I've never heard of this before.
I'll hold this up. So I actually have probably the final copies of the system. So what they did, they would sell you an LP. And of course, it was these records.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm going to send you a photo. I have LPs as well.
Well, this was before 8-track. This was before cassettes. This was definitely before video. And so what it does, it actually you have the audio program and then you have the training manual. So you put this on your record player and you would practice karate at home from this book and listening to the LP. So
that's amazing.
he is that example of that. He's written several books. His partner was a publisher. I'm just living in his legacy.
I love
So
that.
everything that you see me doing is what my teacher did.
That's a beautiful testimony.
And I love him. He is my daddy.
Beautiful.
When I made 10th degree black belt, he was looking for ways that he could legally adopt me.
That's amazing.
I'm going.
I love that.
I was telling my friend, does he not realize how old I am? But when you have real relationships with people, and I've had many, relationships, with, my mentor, right now, Grandmaster Joe Corley, the Battle of Atlanta, who's a legend in the martial arts. He's my mentor. We talk every week. He's the guy that's been really behind me publishing these books, giving me the motivation, inspiration, helping me find solutions to problems. So, that's what I look at as my teacher, is that person that set an example that was so high that I wanted to follow and be better, only to honor him. So he gets a copy of all of my books, my magazines. I send him a copy every other month. I call, talk to his wife, how, he's in his 80s. How's he doing this? There's anything at all I can do or anything that you need, let me know.
Beautiful. What a wonderful testimony. And, some relationships that we really form in life, they are lasting. They will forever be. And it's lovely to hear that there are still good, solid mentors out there, and that, bonds are really formed, and you're living his legacy. To hear that is amazing. And I want to say, Jessie, there are lots of other people that see you as a mentor, and that, as you look up to your mentor, they look up to you. So you are really honoring your mentor and God through your life and through your conduct. And that's beautiful. And that's also an aspect of martial arts, is to give honor and to live a life of dignity and, integrity and the truth. I love what you said about the truth. That's going to stay with me. So thank you for sharing that. I love that. Leadership memories you've had. I mean, my goodness, you've been in a lot of classes. You've been in different settings. You've done public speaking. You've rubbed shoulders with the best in the world. What is your favorite leadership memory if you had to look back?
I would say that my favorite memory that I look at, and I've been thinking about it this past couple of weeks, was that my final year at Duke University, they asked me to be the coach for the Taekwondo club and to lead their team to the regionals and to the nationals. And that opportunity to take those about 20 students to the regionals, these are college kids, to take 20 students to the regionals. And out of that, we had 18 of them to qualify for the nationals.
Beautiful.
We took 6 of those students to the nationals in San Francisco, and Duke received their first gold medal in the collegiate competition. I think that was it was a perfect ending to a 28-year relationship that was good every day. It was just a blessing every day, and to have that opportunity to be the coach that led them to their first gold medal on that level. And that person, had a chance to go on and compete in the world collegiate team. So that was a great experience with great kids. Duke University is such an awesome place to have that opportunity to work at. I mean, it's just it is totally an awesome place, 28 years. And it's a, university that, that gave me the chances to be better myself. So it gave me the chance to better myself, by that experience, and to be paid, to go there, do that, and then constantly have the opportunity to grow and improve myself.
Fantastic. And these are the things that stay with us. And they really just, they touch our hearts. As I read that question to you, I wanted to share with you what my favorite leadership memory is, because I really, I had such a lovely moment last week. The sensei phoned me. He's a teacher and he had to be in a few meetings. And he phoned me and he asked me to take his 3 classes for the afternoon. It was Jiu-Jitsu day. So we can't let anyone do the class because in fear of someone getting hurt, you have to know the techniques. And I was so excited, Jessie. My goodness, I couldn't wait for the day to go over for the classes to start. And I did the 3 classes and I was super tired at the end of it, because it's different to teach than to be in the class. You know that. But I went home so happy. And I was so fulfilled. And I thought to myself, I've always been telling the kids, because my children also do karate with us. I always say to him, when he's big, we are going to open our own dojo. And I mean, it was just like, I just knew that day. It's something I have to do one day. So yeah, I know the feeling that you described. I can relate, but I commend you on what you managed to accomplish. Helping people to attain, helping people to really be victorious and just to enjoy their sport and to excel. It's lovely to see other people be victorious. It's lovely to see them win and to do the best that they can do. So thank you for sharing that. And something that I remember from the first meeting that I had with you is that you were very outspoken about God, your love for God. You are open about it. And I love what you said about not having a religion, but being in a relationship. I've been preaching that for years. The congregation members that watch, that are part of the audience know, I've always said religion stifles our beliefs. We have to be in an active relationship with God. That's the only way, because God is not made of stone or wood. He is a person. And I love the fact that you make no secret of that. So I want to ask you, tell us more about your journey with God.
Okay. Well, I've been on, and then first of all, I was brought up in the church. So that's a foundation, my mom was a church going person. She was a great person. When you can be around a person that no one can say any ill about that person. You cannot, there's nothing you can say about that person. I've never heard her raise her voice or use, profanity or any of those things. And, but I guess I have to say it like this in this journey. I was born for a purpose. The experiences I have is to bring me here that I am usable.
Yes.
That I am usable.
Honor.
Right.
Yeah.
And back in 2015, I was in the church, in my 20s, holiness church, and some things happened in the church that just said, okay, that ain't for me. So I was out of the church. And back here in 2014, Easter weekend, Saturday afternoon, 3:00 in the afternoon, I fall asleep. I don't take naps. I stay up all night, but I don't take naps. I fell asleep. I woke up. I was crying. I was crying, and I was touched. And God started to speak to me as in a real conversation, and began to show me things that was about to happen in my life.
Beautiful.
I picked up the telephone and I made some calls. And sure enough, the things that God had revealed to me, those things were able to happen, were getting ready to happen. I was able to stop a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of financial loss. And he showed it to me. And then he began to show me ways to move myself from it and release these other relationships that weren't making me better. And he provided these opportunities, and I began to grow. I began to grow stronger. And then I started getting into church, into going to church. And God started revealing these opportunities and having me to step forward in these things. And then it became time that I wanted to find a relationship. So I went to God and Lord, okay, I actually wrote a book. One of my books is called Relationship Rescue. I was ending a relationship that I didn't want it to be. I hate you. Relationships when they end, they're crazy. Yeah. So I wrote a book. I did a study on relationship. I talked to psychologists, and the book was called Relationship Rescue. And I began to write down my criteria for someone being in a relationship with me. The things that they had to bring to the relationship and the things that I had to do. And I found that person and, really short on that. But, I came to my hometown, which I said I'd never date anyone from my hometown that I left, 40 years ago. No. But, I pulled in this parking lot. She was driving a Jaguar and the car wouldn't start. She'd been driving it all day and it wouldn't start. I walked by, she says, "Sir, do you know anything about a Jaguar?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. You need to have $500 in your pocket." And the reason I know that is because I drive a Corvette. And she looked at me and going, and that was it. That car would not move. This is a Jaguar. It would not move. And we met, we started talking. I gave her some advice. She thanked me. And that was the end of it. She called me up this day and tell me thank you. And it did cost $500 to get her car fixed. And we started talking. We talked for 3 hours. And so she's my wife today, but she's also a pastor.
Beautiful.
No, she was not in the ministry when we met, but she was called to the ministry. So she's a pastor of Greater Vision Christian Church. So we move in this spiritual place of doing God's work to make the world a better place.
Beautiful.
We're a non-denominational church. And it's about, teaching people about how to make your lives better, how to live on earth on your way to death.
Yes.
Because you're going to die, but it's the journey. It's that journey between being born and dying. Yeah. That's the space, your heaven on earth. This is the space that you're in, and how do you form and work within God's purpose to be connected to God's purpose.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy, that you and your wife are in alignment and that you work together as a team. I always commend the guests. If people are family orientated, it is phenomenal, because that's a part of our responsibility as well to God, to be good to our family and to have good values and to live godly lives as vessels of honor. I absolutely love that. Now, Elite Publications, tell us more about that. That is so exciting.
Okay, that's another God thing. We've written books that, that are very successful books. And, and so what do you do when you're blessed to be receiving, financial success from your projects that's improving and making your life better, that, I don't consider myself really retired, but these blessings comes in that makes your life better. So God said, share it. So that's the reason why we started the publishing company. And then I have this team of people that was drawn to me that have more expertise. They're experts. When you're asking God for something, why not ask God for the best?
Well said.
So why not ask? So we have the best team. And, so we're helping people become international bestsellers, creating revenues through their stories and giving value. And the great thing about writing a book is that the books are legacies. Your book will be passed on to your son, your daughter. It's a legacy. I've got 30 books that bring in revenue every month. But if something happens to me, my wife, these books still continue bringing in revenue for my wife, my grandchildren to be passed on to these books never end. So these books are your legacy. So when you become a published author, you write the book with the end in mind. And that end is that I write a book that people want to know about it and hear about. And so a person may not know that in the beginning, but that's why you would come to us. We brainstorm to help you find your book, your value, and we find out how this book will influence your life.
I agree with you about your team as well. I agree with everything that you've said. It is a legacy, definitely. And your team is top notch. I've met them, and I have to say, there is a God-like energy. God is evident. You know, his presence is tangible. And that's not something that is something that he places on certain projects and people and teams. And definitely from my side, meeting your team, it was a phenomenal experience. Engaging with them is always pleasant, and they are drawn to you. God formed your team for you for a time such as this. And we spoke about how he blessed you with your wife. We can see him working in your life. So I want to commend you. I have only good things to say about Elite Publications, and I'm very impressed with it. And I love the heart behind it. Please tell the audience, you shared a little bit with that in the virtual coffee with me about, how you want to bring God to the world and how you want to bring upliftment.
Okay. Well, being able to not just go out and to preach, but to minister.
Fantastic.
That the message. I did my initial sermon a few weeks back, and it was on forgiveness.
Beautiful.
And in there, that knowing that I have people that I talk to about my book, the things that I'm doing, because it comes from a spiritual place, that they were able to go and do these things and get the same results. But my mission right now is to talk about forgiveness. A year ago, I wrote the book, God Gives Me Vision. Learn to receive his abundance. Yeah. And that book came to me, that God came to me in my sleep and in a dream. He said, write this book. Gave me the title, God Gives Me Vision. The abundance is already here. We have to learn to be receivers.
Yes.
So it's not true. So the blessings of making a difference in the world and impact, you already have that. For everything that you want and need, you already have it. You just have to learn to ask for it.
Yeah.
You have to be in that asking place. Little John, if you started speaking to me in Spanish or in Russian, then I would be going, I don't understand you. So we come to God that way, or we come to God, Lord, give me this, and God's saying, whoa, slow down. What did you say? We come with so much.
Yes.
We don't know how. And we're asking for the same thing over and over. Ask once and it shall be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to beg God, but you have to learn to be a receiver. Yeah. We're on this call today. Yes. And it's this long call. but there may be someone that hears our call today.
Yes.
And that they learn something from the call that changes their life. If it's nothing else but I am a receiver of God. You have to open yourself up to be a receiver. Do you want financial blessings? Now, God does like for you to be precise and not vague. If you want financial blessings, what is that? Is that $10, 10 cents? Is it 10 million? What is it? then you have to be a communicator, and you have to be able to communicate. And that's one of the things about leaderships. A good leader must be a good communicator. Jesus Christ, the greatest leader ever to be born was Jesus Christ in a short period of time.
Very good.
So that is the key, is that, is that learning to receive God's blessings.
Beautifully said.
You have not because you ask not.
Scripture. Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. It shines through and through. It's word, it's scripture. God doesn't go back on his word. So yes, there's a lesson, and I agree with you. There's someone that needs to see the session. There's someone that needs to hear that one sentence, that one point, that one picture that is painted, and the dots will connect, and the revelation will come, and God will just take them to a new level. And my goodness, we are down to our last 3 questions. Time has just flown. I only saw now when you mentioned, I was like, oh my goodness. That's a good thing. Your books, 33 books, my goodness. Are there any books that you would like to highlight? I know you're publishing your new one. Which ones, can we support you with? Because we are here to support and network with you and cheer you on.
Well, I really, where my heart is now at this very moment, here is in my new book. My new book is we all experience that chain is showing that, that the break of learning to let go. And for these birds represents the flying off of that old you. And there's a break. So we learn to forgive. We learn to forgive. So I think that's where I am right now. This book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can go to my website. My website's pretty simple. It is ministerjessiebowen.com. That's JESSIEBOWEN.com. And it's a website that I put together with my wife. She's written 3 Christian books. I've written 2 Christian books.
My goodness.
And it's going to be an audio book. It's going to be a course. So it's not just a book. So the audio book should be ready this weekend, but it's going to be an online course. I partnered with someone else who has a very similar course. We want to take this on the road and, to really make this, about making a difference. Stop the hating, stop hating, stop being angry about things you don't even know why you are angry about. You're angry because someone has told you you should be angry. You hate this person because someone else has told you to hate them. You have these feelings, but once I feel free. As I said, I wrote, I had about 10 people that I call. I actually even called the minister up. Wow. And I apologized to him. He says, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, well, in my heart, I felt there may have been something I've said to you. I did say something to him, and God told me to say it to him. I probably shouldn't have done, but I was obedient. But I apologize for saying that, because if it had offended him, then I didn't say it to offend him. I said it because God told me to say it to him.
Beautiful.
And so that's what but you know what? It feels so good. My kids, we have a great relationship. My granddaughter's getting ready to have my great grandson. And I really feel good. I'm happy. And, I don't have anything lurking out there to distract me, because I'm in this place. Beautiful. And I want other people to be able to feel that. I want to be able for moms and sons and daughters who haven't talked to each other in years. I want them to understand I can forgive you. It doesn't mean I necessarily still have to agree with you.
Of course.
It means that, but I forgive you. And then let that love come back in. The love for my son and I, the love for my daughter, the love for because it's hard for my grandchildren to love me if I have an issue with my son, or if I have an issue with my daughter. My grandkids can't love me. And then it becomes about the generational curse.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes.
You know, so yes, that's what that book is about, is that for you to take and go, wow, let me think about this for a second. You know, who's not in my life that should be in my life, and why not?
Question. Yeah.
You know, and why not? So maybe there's something there that I can do just to pick up the telephone and call them.
Yeah.
And say, forgive me if there's anything I've ever said or anything I've ever done that was offended you. I never meant for it to be harm, or I was angry. Just forgive me. That's all you have to say. Don't go back and rehash and walk down the road. Don't do that. Do that on your own time. You know. You know.
If you do that, it might not end well.
Like I said, you know, when you open Pandora's box, it can get ugly. You know, but it's all about, I forgive that and I move on. And that person will forgive it and move on. You can bring back together a greater relationship. I used to say that Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's men's horses and all the king's men could never put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Yeah. So relationships are broken. They're broken. And I just sweep them up in the trash can. But now I say that God has given me a crazy glue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it is, forgive me.
Yeah. Wow.
And
amazing.
That is crazy. That's what crazy glue will make it better than it was. Will make it stronger. Crazy glue. I forgive you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely a journey. And I agree with everything that you said. And we all go through, you know, our changes, but God, at the end of the day, God is in control. He works behind the scenes to make everything work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. I agree with you. And, you know, there's a reason that we read in Romans 3 verse 23, we all fall short of the glory of God. We're all on this journey. We're all learning every day. And that journey will continue until God comes back for us. Philippians 1 verse 6, until Jesus comes. So it's amazing, you know, just to converse with you and to hear your heart and to see what God is doing for you and your beautiful family and your wife and your team. It's wonderful to see that your lives are a testimony of God's goodness and his love and his grace and his mercy. So I want to ask you, what is next for you? You have the book coming out. You have almost a new family member, I believe, that's on the way. What else is next for you?
Well, we have 4 books coming out in December, in January in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And we have these 4 books coming out. And that's where my focus is right now. We're expanding what we do and to helping people to turn their books into revenue sources. Yes. You know, that's how do we turn this book into a revenue source? And what does that mean? That a lot of people will read the things that we're writing. You know, how do we do that? How do we network? How do we build our list? How do we enhance our speaking opportunities? And when people look at, the bigger your story is and the more people that want to read your story, I was telling someone today that, here in the U.S., Vice President Pence, to share his story, he got between $3 to $4 million in advance.
Oh my goodness!
For his story. The Obamas, they got $65 million as an advancement on their book between the 2 books. But I'm saying that to say that these are people that people want to follow and read about. So when you're impacting the world and you can impact people, Money is an outcome from what you do.
Yes, it's a tool.
It's a tool. Money is that tool. It's not about money. Money is an outcome for doing a great job. And that great job is getting people to read about my book, and whether it's fiction or nonfiction, but they gain pleasure from reading about my book. That pleasure is why they keep buying my books, because they gain something from it.
Phenomenal. Wonderful view on that, fresh perspective. I like that. I resonate with that. I hear what you're saying, and I understand it better. Because sometimes people's focuses are wrong. They see money as, something that they have to chase. Actually, if you work hard, the Bible says there's fruit in all labor. Money will come to you. It will come to you. And God wants his children to be blessed.
That's right.
Do you have, he wants us to have the best of everything, just like I want to give my children the best of everything. That's God's heart for me. And my children don't have to go, if they love me and they are just the amazing souls that they are, I will give more than enough. And God is the same. And that's why he honors us when we honor his work and we are, his vessels. So I wanted to ask you, Jessie, do you have any words of wisdom for the audience? There's been so many golden nuggets here. My goodness, it's a phenomenal session. What would you like to end with?
Well, we're starting off a brand new year. I look at there are 2 times of restarts. So you can always restart. I don't care how bad something is going. You can stop and do a restart. You don't have to follow down that road. So I look at my birthday as a restart. Then I look at January 1st as a restart. So that's my 2, that's taking that time to, check out myself and see, am I on the right road that I want to travel? And so I would say that as you stop, and January the 1st, start now, look at your life. Is it the life you want? Is there something else you wish you had done? Or, because it's never too late. Whether you're married, or whether you have children, whether you're homeless, it's a restart. It's a restart. Find your foundation for your restart. So I would say, looking at, if you look at your life, evaluate it. If it is purpose and doing what you'd like to have it to do, that's great. Could it do better? Could you be better? Then look at the opportunities that's in front of you. Look at those opportunities that's in front of you. Take your weakness and make it a strong point. Make a difference in the world by, as we said before, I've named up all those people that had a purpose in the world. What would the world be like if the Wright brothers had not been born?
Imagine that.
Where would civil rights be if it had not been for Martin Luther King here in America? Where would the iPhone, I got one on my desk someplace, if it had not been for Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what if technology, someone had to come up with an idea for Zoom? You can always do a restart.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at. In God's world, things continue to progress, because the idea had to come from someplace.
Absolutely. God gives those ideas.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. What if we didn't have the tech? What if we didn't, we could still be, looking at my LPs instead of having an MP3 download. Yeah. Just think about where we would be, because the continual growth is a part of the process. So start your reset. Have your reset. I have a book out online, and it's called The Secrets to Goal Setting. You can go to my authors page on Amazon. All my podcasts on about becoming an author, all my books are actually on my Amazon authors page. but I write on law of attraction. So there's a meditation. So there's 30 some books there, and if you cannot find what you're looking for, call me and we'll write a new book.
Oh, I love that. That is, that's gonna stay with me. That's amazing.
Yeah, we can write a new book. Hey, that's you got an idea, we can write a book on it.
Yeah, I love that, and I love what you said about not missing an opportunity. I did a post the other day in one of the leadership groups that I am in, and I said, a missed opportunity is like a cold cup of coffee. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So don't miss those opportunities that come along. You must make the most of every day, not just today and tomorrow, every day. So I loved when you said, if there's need for a book, we'll write it. That's good. That's the right mindset to have. Now, I want to thank you from the Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for sharing this lovely time, for edifying us, uplifting the community, for who you are, who you mean, what you mean to people. We speak a blessing over you and your family and your businesses, and it was just phenomenal. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, and love the work you're doing. Love following you. So, I'm here in the U.S. and you're in Africa. So, so we have a global connection.
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. Thank you to the Meticulous Moments audience for joining us. My goodness, it was just an amazing session. You know what to do. Follow Jessie, network with him, and cheer him on this wonderful journey. And see you in the next session. Goodbye.
Goodbye.